Flodesk makes email marketing easy as pie. From 2011 to 2014, she was selling MailChimp templates, doing $400,000, $500,000 per year. Ultimately, Canva and other tools came in, and so templates stopped selling as well, but she still had a great built-in base that said, hey, we'd love to build this inside of MailChimp and make the flows easier. That prompted her to start going and interviewing folks from her audience, pairing up with a team at Honeybook, and eventually launching. The three co-founders put in $90,000 total back on launch date before they launched their first paid plan at $19 per month. They eventually got going, and today over 30% of their inbound is powered by affiliate marketing and word of mouth marketing. They have over 80,000 paying customers. Revenue run rate today is about $27 million, up from $20 million just a year ago, and their $10 million a year was back in 2021, which they hit it's crazy, 18, 19 months after launch. Here's a cherry on top, with no outside funding and just 50 full-time employees for $540,000 of revenue per employee. Hey folks, if we haven't met yet, my name is Nathan Latka. I launched and sold my first software company back in 2015 and went on to write a book about it, which you guys made a Wall Street Journal bestseller, purchasing over 30,000 copies. Thank you so much for that. After the book, I launched this show and went on to create founderpath.com. I raised a large fund to do non-dilutive deals with B2B software founders. So far, we've invested in over 400 software founders, totaling $150 million. Here in 2024, we're doing 3 to 4 new deals per week. So if you're looking for capital and don't want to give up equity, go sign up at founderpath.com for free to get your offer. All right, let's jump into the interview. Hey folks, my guest today is Rebecca Shostak. She is the Chief Brand Officer and founder at Flodesk. Launched the company over 6 years ago after being very active in sort of the graphic design template space from 2011 to 2018. We're going to learn her full story today. Rebecca, are you ready to take us to the top?
I'm so ready. Let's do it.
I am stoked you're here. I met you via Greg Head at SaaS Talk a week ago, and I rarely get surprised, but he goes, "You've got to meet Rebecca." I'm like, "Well, why do I have to meet her?" And he goes, "Well, she's bootstrapped and she's doing a crap ton of revenue. So I don't want to bury the lead. What are you at today in terms of revenue?"
We are hovering right around 27 million ARR.
This is incredible. Okay, and just so people get a growth rate before we dive into your product, your background, design, templates, etc., where were you exactly 1 year ago?
Oh my goodness, I feel like I'm being put on the spot. I believe we're hovering around 20.
Okay, so sort of 20 now up to about 26, 27.
Yes.
That's great growth. Okay, guys, keep listening. We'll hear how she drove that growth without raising VC, even while her competitors raise a bunch of VC. But Rebecca, first, how did you get into this space 6.5 years ago?
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, we can go way back. So I think my first job out of college, actually, it goes back to that. I was hired at this company to be the designer for the merchandise for a lot of top brands. So I was designing for Linkin Park and Rihanna and Sheryl Crow. And this was my first job out of college. So that was pretty cool. And I was living in LA, and I would go to Hot Topic and I would see my designs all over the t-shirts behind the clerks. And I'd be like, "Oh, I want to buy a few of those." And they're like, "Well, why do you want to buy those? Like, those are really different bands." And I was like, "Oh, I designed them." And they were like, "We don't believe you." It's like, "No, really, I did." And from there, I fell in love with being able to design for a lot of different brands, and especially marketing design and brand design, and doing like a lot of different styles that would excite different people in different verticals. And from there, I fell in love with this idea of creating for lots of different brands. And I started another company that was a recurring revenue company, but it was just a little shop that I had online where I was selling templates for professional photographers. And I would get all of these
Photoshop
templates. That's right. Yeah. And I would create a lot of different types of templates, like pricing and branding for these professional wedding photographers, especially. And then I started getting a lot of requests for MailChimp templates, but I wasn't able to actually make a MailChimp template. That wasn't really a thing. It was either like you had HTML and then you had to package it with images from Photoshop that you had to export. And then you had the copy, like the written pieces of it, and you would have to paste these emails together into MailChimp. And I sold that as a package. But every time I sold a MailChimp template, the next day I'd get an all caps, super angry, "You need to give me a refund" email from the customer saying like, I could not implement these designs in MailChimp. And this happened from about 2010 to 2014. And I was like, wow, that is a big gap in the market of people needing really beautiful email marketing that represents their branding. And it's not being served by the legacy players. But I was like, that's someone else's problem. Surely there's going to be a Squarespace of email.
That was
Somebody's gonna feel
2010 to
bad.
20, you said 2010 to 2017?
14.
14. What was your best year revenue wise selling those templates? Are we talking like 50 grand a year or like 500 grand a year or more maybe?
It was between 400 to 500 grand a year.
Okay, so this wasn't like a small business. I mean, this was plenty for you to live on, have a great life.
Yeah, I mean, it was really nifty. I would say though that with the onset of Canva and a lot of SaaS players coming into the space, the demand for these one-off Photoshop templates had decreased, so it wasn't super sustainable. But it was something that created a really nice little lifestyle business.
Okay, so what happened in 2014? Canva's coming in, your templates are selling less. You've identified this key need. You haven't built a product for it yet. What happened in 2015?
So the idea of Flodesk, I would say, was conceived in 2017. So I had this template shop, and then I also started to pitch template shops to other influencers. So I was just making a lot of creative output and templates for a lot of different brands in different spaces and to different audiences. But in 2017, that's when I met my co-founder, Martha, and we got together, and she was working in a company, a CRM called Honeybook, which is CRM for small businesses. So she had a lot of overlap with her market, seeing the photographers who a lot of them use Honeybook. And she was seeing the exact same problem where we would see these huge influencers that were making millions of dollars a year and had the most beautiful Instagram feeds, the most gorgeous websites, and their emails were freaking ugly, like, to be completely honest. And so she saw it from her side, and she saw that these amazing influencers were so savvy with every part of their business email, and they were struggling. I saw it from my side, and we were like, somebody's got to do something about this. So
what was her role at Honeybook?
I believe she was working in business development.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, I'm just going back we can do this live when we have 3,300 episodes. We had Oz Alan, May 4th, 2021 on the show, one of the Honeybook founders. And the data he shared, I mean, this wasn't a small company. I mean, they broke $10 million bucks of revenue in 2021, now over $30 million bucks of revenue. But it sounds like she was onto something even back then, because in 2017, when you met, they'd raised a bunch of money. So she certainly understood what it was like to work for a VC-backed company. How did that influence how you guys split equity on day one as co-founders, and how you thought about funding your first $1 million of revenue?
Yeah, well, we actually have a third co-founder too, Trong, who is in Vietnam, and he's our technical co-founder. And so we split up the equity between the three of us going forward, and then we also put aside an employee pool. So from the beginning, it was just the three of us, and then we also had some set aside for employees. But we always knew that we wanted to remain undiluted and keep as much of our shares as possible, and also make sure that anybody that we brought on and offered equity to would feel like really bought into the company. And so that was a big part of not taking on VC.
Now, Rebecca, did you guys have the tough conversations early on about, are we all equal? Are we not? Do we just do 30% each, then have a 9% ESOP pool? I mean, how did you probably can't share specific percentages, but generally speaking, is everyone equal, or was it clear someone was putting in cash and so they got more equity or something like that?
I can't share specifics, but I think there were a lot of interesting conversations around the topic, and we decided to split things up based on how much money each founder was putting in at the time, because we fully bootstrapped and it was out of our pockets. And then about at the amount of effort that each was putting in at what stage.
Yep. Was everyone convinced and ready to be full-time on day one, or did some people keep a side gig for a little bit until Flodesk hit some traction?
So Martha and I were completely full in at the beginning, and obviously she was working full-time at Honeybook, and we were very diligent about making sure that that there was no overlap in that time there, so that she was basically moonlighting in Flodesk and pulling an 8-hour day in the evenings after work. So she and I were definitely full-time 100% from the beginning. And then our technical co-founder had his other company going at the same time and went full-time within about a year and a half of the company launching.
Okay, that's great. I know you can't give individual numbers, but can you share what you guys all in together put into the company to fund it to get it going? Was it, we're talking like 50K or like 500K or millions? Can you share that?
$90,000.
Oh, great. Okay. So you guys put in 90 grand and then what? Tell me how you get the MVP launched and when you close your first customer.
Oh my goodness. So I love telling this story because I think a lot of people are almost confused about how we had product market fit even from day one. But the truth is that we actually had a viable product before we touched a line of code. And I know that sounds nuts, but when we were first starting, Martha and I had crazy amounts of customer interviews. Like we probably spoke to 100 to 200 people from our target audience because it was just the water we were swimming in, right? It was the people that we were already hanging out with, and it were my customers and people that she had relationships with through Honeybook. So she and I were.
But what are those people? People you sold MailChimp templates to 2 years prior? What were those people?
So
what were their job titles?
Yeah, so it's almost like the new creative economy, right? So a lot, they call them solopreneurs, but a lot of them are photographers, service providers, coaches, educators, people with salons, spa services, masseuses, creative services, graphic design services. So it's like this sort of whole economy that was overlooked by traditional Silicon Valley of people who have small businesses. And I think it's not super attractive to a lot of SaaS companies because they want to go after the big whales of getting these large enterprise
Hair
customers.
salons churn too much. I don't want to sell something to them. They're not going to keep
exactly.
paying. Yeah.
Exactly. And Martha and I were like, no, like this is almost a secret. This is a secret superpower that it's an underserved part of the economy. And it's a huge growing sector of the economy, the small business segment. And if we can nail it, then we'll have really been onto something. So we immersed ourselves in this customer segment. And I just remember it was pre-Figma. So I had my InVision mock-ups and I would go in and be tweaking it. And we would be walking them through flows and having them go through sort of like a fake builder experience. And at the end asking, would you be willing to pay for this? And they were whipping out their credit card saying, when can I buy this? So we had a really clear idea of our vision and what the
Wait, did you close it?
Like.
Did you close? If okay, let's say I was one of those.
We actually did. We actually did.
So what landing page? Let's say you give me the InVision board. It feels almost real because it's an InVision. It feels like a real flow. And at the end, you say, "Okay, Nathan, Mr. Hair Salon guy, are you willing to pay $30 a month or whatever to pay?" And I say yes. Do you to make sure they're not bullshitting you and telling you what you want to hear? Do you say, "Okay, here's the link. Go swipe your card now," or what did you do?
Oh, well, so basically we had one-on-one interviews, so either in person or on Zoom, or I guess Google Meets at that point. And we would walk them through the flow. And then at the end, Martha would ask them the question, how much would you pay for this? And we would put a few numbers of pricing in front of them because we were also trying to test out pricing and positioning. And at that point, they said $19 a month. That was what we landed on. I think we were anchoring on something around there, like $38 a month. Because that's actually our full price cost, but we offer 50% off your first year. And our special beta deal that has long since passed was you could get 50% off for life if you sign up for our beta. And it worked so well. And so we offered the 50% off deal, and people were loving the $19 a month price point. It was kind of unheard of to have unlimited subscribers and unlimited emails, especially at that low price. And compared to like the major players or the larger players, like they charge you so much when your list gets big. So we had people signing up, and the service that we offered, because we didn't have a software, was me just designing their emails in Photoshop and then plugging it into something that could be sent. So it was almost like a design service. And then the platform development and the self-serve onboarding experience came downstream from that.
Okay, so how many $19 per month plans did you sell before you said, Tron, hurry up, we got to launch a freaking website that actually works?
Well, he was there helping us and also managing the engineers to help us build it. But I think by the time Tron went completely full time, we were in the several thousand range of subscribers, of paying members.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Got it. So, I mean, 1,000 paying $19, you're making 20 grand a month before you have a working website. That was all from InVision flows, basically, and you doing custom work on the backside.
Yes. That's right.
Incredible. Okay. Okay, so when did you email all the list and say, okay, it's live? Go to Flodesk.com, log in, and create your first thing. We've pre-uploaded the designs we already did for you, so you see them in your dashboard. Click the thing, start sending. Like, when was that moment?
Wait, I'm so sorry. I just realized. So we didn't have we didn't have that many paying customers without a website and a platform. So we
Okay.
had maybe 50 people who had signed up with their card before we built like the entire self-service flow. But I think the reason why it's a little bit hard to pinpoint exactly when that moment was is because we had a lot of in between where we had a website up and people were signing up, but the software had a lot of like high touch interaction from Martha and me to actually give people any kind of viable experience.
Yep. No, that makes a ton of sense. And that would when did you say that would have been? Was that in 2018, 2019 when the website was fully working?
Yeah, I would say it was. So we had our planned launch in August 12th of 2019. And then a month before that, we had our explosive sort of pre-launch launch, which I can get into in a second because I think that's the most fun part of the story. But I would say starting in early 2019, we actually had a website.
Yes, so I have it pulled up. August 16th, 2018. It says Flodesk. It's not fancy. It's just black in the upper left with a period. There's some weird sort of oval shapes in the background. It says beta access coming soon. And
Oh man.
it says design beautiful campaigns made with love for small business owners. And there's no login. It just says enter your email for early access. Okay, tell us about your pre-launch launch.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, thank you for taking me back down the trip to memory lane. There's been so many iterations of the website. I completely forgot about that, but I love it. And we did have people coming through that form at that point. So we were planning a big launch for August 12th, and we had planned a co-marketing campaign with a community called Rising Tide Society, which was actually owned by Honeybook, but it was a community that served the small business world, and a lot of our target market were part of the Rising Tide Society, about 80,000 people. So that was sort of our big marketing campaign. But leading up to that, a month before, a good friend of ours who was an influencer was beta testing the software. And she was like, you guys, this is absolutely incredible. I just love Flodesk. And she asked if she could send out a newsletter using Flodesk and move over from ConvertKit. So we were like, yeah, we don't know exactly what's going to happen. And hopefully, the software will work and everything
Who
will go
was
fine.
this?
And
Was this like Marie Forleo or Amy Porterfield or one of these types?
one of those types. So it's actually Natalie Frank, who's now our head of marketing. But she's also a very good friend of Martha and me, and she had an incredible personal brand with a lot of followers. So she had 15,000 people on her mailing list at that point. And she shot that email out, and she plugged Flodesk at the bottom with more than just our little viral footer that says "Made with Love" and Flodesk. She actually put a footer at the bottom that said, if you're loving the design of this email, check out this new service by my friends Flodesk. And during that time, we had that website up, and we were getting maybe 2 to 3 people trickling in a day just who heard about us organically or through the grapevine. We went through Y Combinator's startup school, and like the word was just starting to get out a tiny bit about us in our very close friend circles. But so it was about 2 to 3 a day in our Slack channel. And we had a channel that was telling us how many trials were coming through. As soon as she sends the email, within 30 minutes, we're getting 50 trials or more an hour. Within 24 hours, tutorials were popping up all over YouTube. Within 48 hours, it was all over Instagram and social media. And it just completely exploded. It like self-launched. And since we have a viral loop in the footers of our emails and on our forms, I'm in a very high touch point with a lot of the emails that are going out, like it was sort of like a perpetual motion machine that just kept going and going, and it exploded. So by the time we had the large marketing campaign plan, a lot of people were already using us. It was just one of the most incredible moments in my life.
That's amazing. Well, Natalie's background, I'm going off her LinkedIn, co-founder of Rising Tide Society in June 2015, then recruited in October to Honeybook as head of community, right? Because she has such a great community, right? And then she effectively used that Rising Tide Society, then promote Flodesk, which is what really sort of made you guys take off. And then now obviously she's full-time, but this really goes to the power of building a community. I mean, it's such a moat. You can play Queenmaker is what we'll call it. You can play Queenmaker on any software you want, right?
I think so. And I think that's like a big secret to it as well. I think we had founder market fit, which is something that not a lot of people talk about. But we had product market fit before we touched line of code, and we had founder market fit like literally from day one since we signed the incorporation papers. It was like we not only understood our audience, but we actually were one of them. Like I felt the pain as a small business owner with my template shop of not having an amazing design forward, super user-friendly email tool to promote my template offering. So I think understanding, not just understanding, but being one of our customers was a huge advantage.
And were you always email, or did you have a bit of a type form potentially play early on? You weren't sure if you were going to be a survey tool or an email tool. Was it always going to be email?
It was always email, just
Okay.
completely clear, beautiful, simple email marketing. It's been our thing since day one.
So by August 2020, the headline says email marketing, easy as pie. And now it says put your email in and actually try it, not sign up for beta, actually try it. So people will get in and start going. I want to touch on a couple of things here. The first is a lot of people have problems trying to engineer what is called the viral coefficient, right? You explained it already. It's the powered by sort of thing, right? This is very powerful. Now, some people say we can't do this because we don't have a software tool that is like one to many, right? They don't have a Natalie, right? Where it's one to many. What would your advice be to them? And can you quantify the impact of your powered by? How many new trials do you get today from click-throughs on your freemium powered by product?
Well, that one, we get over 30% of our total inbound traffic from the viral loop and from word of mouth referrals, which are sort of interlinked because we have a really strong affiliate program, and Martha made sure that we launched with that, which is, we can touch on that in a second because that's a big recommendation of mine. But we had a give 50% off to your audience. So the coupon code would be distributed through the people that used and loved Flodesk through our affiliates. And you would also get $19 a month. So you basically give $19 a month to your audience because the full price is $38 and get $19. So it's just super simple messaging. Give 19, get 19. And then the viral footer isn't just taking people to sign up for Flodesk. It's taking people to sign up for Flodesk for the affiliate page of the person who sent the email. So that it provides a strong incentive for people to keep that footer turned on. And also an incentive to keep sharing about Flodesk. So I would say for people who don't have a huge one-to-many audience, I think partnerships and affiliate programs can be huge because even if you yourself haven't built a large audience, you want to tap into and leverage people that do. And you can do that by offering them a lot of incentives. And I mean, everybody wants to make money, right? Like, I think that's the case. And so by offering really strong affiliate incentives, you can tap into other people's audiences as long as they love your product. I think the first thing, though, is making sure you build something that people are even excited to talk about.
Yeah. Look, this is interesting because I just interviewed the CEO of SEMrush, Eugene, and he said one of the big mistakes they made early on is SEMrush's early affiliate program was 40% in perpetuity on monthly receivables, right? Monthly contracts. And that killed their margin. By nature, they could only have 60% margin because 40% was going to the affiliate. You've structured this very nicely where it's still a great win for everybody, but it doesn't impact your margins, right? Give your audience 50% off Flodesk. Right. And then the affiliate is paid $19 just every time someone signs up from their recommendation, just one time $19.
Correct.
That's awesome. So how much do you know this off your head? How much did you pay out to affiliates in 2023 last year?
Oh my goodness, I don't have that off the top of my head, but I am pretty sure it's in the millions because so much of our traffic comes in through word of mouth.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a really, really major channel for us. And it's something that we're really doubling down on and investing in because it's like, if you search for Flodesk, even on Google, you'll see all of these blog posts and YouTube videos evangelizing us. And we're really like blown away by the amount of love and investment we've gotten back from our community in us. And so we want to reinvest in them as well. And I think it's really important to do that. Like, it's like one of our biggest sources of traffic.
Well, and these things are by rosanna.co.uk, the ultimate guide to Flodesk. Meet the email marketing platform I'm obsessed with. And then it's the full link, and then right there, smack dab, and then I'll get 50% off Flodesk. Right there it is. Boom.
There it is.
And yeah, this is great. So how big is the program today? How many affiliates did you pay at least $1 to in the last 30 days? And a range is fine.
I wish I had.
Is it like thousands or is it like tens?
It's thousands.
And do you see power laws? Do your top 30 affiliates generate 80% of your affiliate revenue?
Yeah. It looks like a lot of the standard graphs that you see where it starts out with a few that are at the very top and then goes down. But we're one thing that's sort of blowing us away and that is a little bit unusual is that we get a lot more referrals from like a smaller, high, like more frequent, smaller referrals than other companies do. So most companies, they have almost all of the referrals coming in from a few big players and almost nothing from everyone else. And for us, the distribution has a much longer tail.
Your long tail is more substantial than the average.
Correct.
Really interesting. Okay, 27 million bucks of ARR today. How many paying customers does that make?
We have over 80,000.
That's wild. Okay, so 80,000 paying customers. And besides the affiliate traffic and the powered by, what's your second most powerful growth channel? You grew from 20 million last year to 27 million today.
I believe that it is organic search.
Interesting. What keyword do you know you've just dominated? It drives you a lot of your traffic.
I think it's like a long tail. Like I think it's a lot of little things. Like we just have so many affiliates generating content. And I guess that goes back to the affiliate channel though. And we also have a pretty strong paid arm as well. But I believe I'm not sure about the numbers, but it's not generating anything like our affiliate.
Yep. Okay. So 80,000 paying customers at 19 a month is, what is that? I think that's like 1.5 million per month times 12 months is 18 million. So you have some people paying more than $19 per month. What do you upsell? How do you upsell?
Yeah, absolutely. So two ways. So actually the $19 a month, we had a cutoff in 2021 of our out of beta campaign, which was wild. And we had a ton of people coming in there to lock in their lifetime beta. But now what we offer is 50% off for your first year, which is also a very enticing deal. I mean, it's still a super good deal. And even so, our full price is $38 a month. So we have a lot of full price customers now. So that increased our ARPU quite a bit. And then in addition to that, a year and a half ago, we launched a new product called Checkout, which is a super simple way to get a sales funnel up with like a beautiful designs, and it seamlessly integrates with our email product. And so that is an upsell as well.
You just see like these loud men in this space selling. You say, I want to beat Nathan Barry at ConvertKit. And now I see Russell Brunson at ClickFunnels. I'm going to take it to him too, huh? Is that what happens here?
With going against ConvertKit or going up against ConvertKit?
No, I'm only half joking. I mean, how did you know that sequencing with product launches is very important. You start with email. How did you know that the best next thing you should focus on is sales funnels?
Our customers were requesting it. Honestly, like everything that we build goes back to what people request. And we just released a public roadmap so people can upvote and downvote. But we've always had a very strong arm around places where people can submit their user requests. We also have a very vocal community on Facebook where we can get real-time feedback from our users about the pains that they're experiencing and what they're asking for. So we never build just for the sake of building or for the sake of making extra money or trying to have an upsell. We build because we are all about obsessing over what our customers want from us and then bringing as much value to them as possible.
Oh my gosh, Rebecca, your pricing page on this is so funny. It says, I'm going to catch her on something here. I'm going to find how she upsells. And it says, stop getting penalized for growing your list. And it has one of those draggers. Those of you listening in your car, it has one of those draggers, right? Like how many subscribers do you have? And I'm expecting like the Flodesk price to go up as I like drag the number of subscribers up to 100,000. The left side says Flodesk email marketing, $35 a month. The right side says everybody else. And as I drag the dragger from 5K on my list up to 100,000, everybody else goes up to $700 per month. Rebecca and Flodesk stay at $35 per month. This is like goes against all conventional wisdom about driving net dollar retention and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you would think, but then I also think that there's the Netflix model, right? Which we were sort of inspired by, which is something where it's like, it brings so much value. And especially like at the $9 a month back when Netflix had a little bit of a different model, but we were like, we want to make the price so unbeatable and so enticing and have like the most accessible possible model ever that people can't say no to Flodesk. It's like, if it's super simple to use, it's more beautiful than the other solutions out there, and the pricing can't be beat, like how could we lose? So that was sort of the bet we made. And I think it was very resonant for these small business owners too, who are struggling, right? Like you think about someone who has like a small bakery in San Francisco and they're waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning to make croissants, and they don't want to have to worry about their email. They want to be able to make money and send a communication to their customer when it matters without a lot of friction. And on top of that, we don't want them stressing about all of the stuff that it takes to build a small business and then thinking, well, if I'm successful and I get more subscribers, then I'm going to have to get charged more as well by my email subscription service. Like that's just, it makes logical sense.
Yeah. Rebecca, I just realized I totally lost track of time. I'm like so into this. Do you have a couple more minutes? When's your hard stop? How much time do we have?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's keep going.
Okay. Who designed your I just onboarded because I was curious what your onboarding flow looks like. Most onboarding tools, there's 9 million buttons to check. You can only really do one thing to your onboarding. I click checkout, I click sign up. It says welcome to the template library. Checkout is selected on the left, and then the first thing it says sell a digital product with a big pink design. I scroll down and it says open a registration for an event or sell a course. Like you've clearly sort of intentionally restricted what the options are on the onboarding flow because you know your audience so well. How important is that for your activation rates?
Oh my goodness. I think it's critical, right? Because I mean, we talk about onboarding a lot, and my take on it is, why would you put anything between your user and the aha moment? And we know that the aha moment for our customers was when they see a template that resonates with their brand and speaks to the use case that they're trying to solve for. So why would we put anything in between that moment where they sign up and the experience of realizing that this is a tool that understands them?
This is so cool. Let's talk a little bit more about people and scale. So you mentioned you do some paid spend. How much do you spend per month on paid about? Do you know?
Oh, I think we spend around $700K a quarter.
Okay, $700K a quarter. And do you do this in-house, or is there an agency that you really trust that handles most of this for you?
We're working with an agency. Well, we have a growth team, but we also work with an agency. No, I can't say.
How many agencies did you go through before you got to the one that you're on today? And what question would you recommend someone listening if they're going to spend 20 grand a month on ads? How should they quickly get to the right agency for them? What questions should they ask?
Ooh, I think that it's really important to have an agency that we went through several. And I think, but it wasn't because they weren't good, or it was just that we needed different things at different stages. And so I think when you're a larger company, you're going to look for an agency that is able to bring you a lot of data, have like strong account managers that are, they're able to set up a lot of systems for you and work cross-functionally with your team, and also be able to understand your markets and almost and go broad, but then fine tune, because a lot of times as you get to a more mature stage with your ads, you have a lot of creative that you've tested already. And then you want and then you want an agency that can help you to fine tune what that creative looks like and go after a target audience. But in the early stages, I think it's really important to find an agency that's just going to get you off the ground with testing and throwing a lot of tomatoes on the wall and seeing what sticks, and not worrying about optimization. Because at the very beginning, you just want to know if you have a viable product, who your audience is, who it's going to speak to. And if you have an agency that's like really large and super detail oriented and able to go in and refine the way the audiences are built out and the creative, then that's probably too heavy-handed for a company just getting off the ground. But I do recommend working with an agency if you're going to spend that kind of money, because otherwise it's very wild.
Are there any websites you recommend people can go to find an agency? Like, did you use Fiverr and hire 8 agencies and give them a test and see who worked, and then hire the one that worked well? Or what was your process?
I think that we went with recommendations, and that's my recommendation to the audience as well, to go with the recommendations that people are in, especially in your space, to like try to find an agency that specializes in the audience that you know is your target market. So for us, it's really important to have an agency that understands the small business customer and segment, because they behave so differently from larger companies. They also behave very differently from consumers.
Yep. Talk to me real quick on team. How many folks are full-time today?
Right around 50.
Okay, this is great. 50 are full-time.
Yes.
It's just wild to me. How many freelance do you have? How many contractors do you pay at least $1 per month?
Oh, I think it really depends month to month, but probably in the 5 to 10 range.
This is just wild to me. 27 million divided by 50 is $540,000 of revenue per employee. It's insane. What are you doing with all the profits every month? Do you take it out or do you reinvest it? Do you just let it build up in the bank account, put it in treasuries? I mean, what do you do?
We reinvest, and right now we want to make sure, since we are bootstrapped, that we have a strong cash cushion so that if anything were to happen, not I hope that it doesn't, but that we create a long runway for ourselves in case
Yeah.
because we just feel like we don't have that like a lot of companies they feel like they have a cushion with the VC backing, and we don't have that. So we want to make sure that if something crazy happened or something changed with the industry or we had to make a complete pivot, that we have the resources to retain our team and make sure that we do the right thing to ensure the survival of the company.
Have you bought any companies? Would you consider M&A, inorganic growth in the future, M&A?
We have not, and I think if an opportunity presented itself for us to find a company that did something very specific that we wanted to integrate into our company and the financial numbers made sense, and even more importantly, the people side of it made sense, I think we would consider it, but none of those opportunities have arisen for us so far.
Yeah. Are you comfortable sharing how profitable you are per month? Are we taking like 20% to the bottom line, 50%?
I'm not exactly sure, but we are very profitable.
Good. That's a great answer. We're so profitable. I don't even look at it every month. I just know we're printing money.
We are very profitable.
What's the largest acquisition offer you've turned down?
Oh my goodness. You know what? We've been very disciplined about not entertaining the offers that have come so far, just because they haven't made sense for us. Not even we've never even gotten to the point where we've had the discussions about in getting into the weeds of the finances, because we just really believe in the mission and the vision that we are building, and we still feel that we have a ton left on the table. And so an acquisition doesn't really make sense for us at this point. We want to remain independent and keep serving our customers.
I love that. Love that. You don't have quota carrying reps at this price point, right? No A's.
What is that?
You don't have like an account executive you hire and say, your job is to go sell 10 customers, $1,000 per year plans, and you get an X% commission. Yeah.
No, we don't have a sales team. It's all completely self-serve.
Yeah, I love that. So how many of the 50 would you say are engineering?
I believe we have right around 20 engineers, give or take.
Yeah, that's wild. I mean, this is interesting. Okay, is there any? I see so much of this. Sometimes I fall in the trap of asking the same questions every founder, but when you then meet a unique founder, you forget to ask the unique thing. So, is there something that I haven't asked that has been critical to your success that you want to touch on?
Well, I think we've touched on it, but I just wanted to say, I think there's sort of like the Silicon Valley founder space and the SaaS space, and there's a lot of data and numbers. But the truth is that I think success comes when you build an amazing product that people love. And the SaaS portion of it is just sort of your monetization strategy. And it's like when you build something in a subscription model makes sense. But at the very core of what we do, we listen to the customers. We spent a massive amount of time with them. We had a vision and practically a product before we touched the line of code. And then everything came downstream from that. And I don't think that's a very common thing to hear in the SaaS space, but I think it's critical. That's like how you create something that's truly valuable to people that you want to pay for. And no matter how you try to tweak numbers and shuffle around data, if you don't have that one core piece, a product that people love and that really solves a pain, then none of the other stuff matters.
How much of your 80,000 paying customers do you think pay you because they love and respect your story and they want to be like you and they want to be in your orbit and in your community and at your events, versus they just believe that your technology allows them to create a blue button with a certain border color and drag it and left align it, like the technology of the WYSIWYG builder that you built is better than everybody else? So community versus better tech, what's the bigger pull?
Oh, I think it's both. I think we have a lot of female small business owner members. And so I think our founder story resonates with them, especially the bootstrap piece, because a lot of the small businesses that use us love to see that we didn't take funding. They're not able to take funding. And so we've kind of been like, why should we take funding when our customers don't have access to the same thing? It's like we really relate to them. And then I do think we have an amazing product. Like we did something that no one else figured out, which is how to make these beautiful visual emails that allow small business owners to compete in the inbox with the big name brands with resources that they don't have. Like most, if you take a company like Anthropology, they have $1 million marketing team, and small business owners don't have access to resources to be able to do that. So we've been able to do that, make it really easy for them. And I think like that's that's like a larger and larger component of it, because at the beginning it was community led, and a lot of the people that were signing up as early members knew us through the grapevine or were friends of friends. But at this point, our user base is getting so large that a lot of them are sort of in the outer spheres of our community and breaking into new bubbles. So they don't even know our founder story. Sorry, it's like a lot of words.
No, that's great. Do you get depressed when a logo cancels? How many logos canceled in April?
Logos?
Yeah, like a customer. How many customers canceled, and how do you manage? You care deeply about your community. How do you manage like not getting depressed every time you see a $38 per month account cancel?
Oh, I just muted the Slack channel.
That wasn't the answer I was expecting. Okay, so you just muted the Slack. That's hysterical.
No, but at this point, obviously, like we have very low churn rates.
What is it, like 2% a month?
I knew you were going to ask me. Yeah, something. I think it hovers around that. Yes. Okay. But at scale, obviously, when you're talking about 80 to 100,000 people on the platform, that's not a small number per day. But I think actually, as much as I was kind of half joking about the Slack channel, I think it takes a lot of courage to go and talk to those people and understand why they're churning. And so that's something that we've built a really strong muscle around, is capturing exit data on, when we survey them when they churn, and also having our user experience researcher go and speak to these members and do a lot of churn studies so that we really understand the reason that they're leaving and try to address the issues that they're bringing up. Like literally everything we do at the company goes back to listening to our customers, including the ones we leave. So I guess the high level is like, do I get depressed? No, because I think it's a part of the business. And I also see it as an opportunity for us to improve.
And how aggressive are you on the CAC side for the paid marketing stuff? Or are you willing to spend 3 months of fees to acquire the customer up front? Or what do you like to optimize for there? What would make you uncomfortable in terms of payback period?
I believe that we like to optimize for 9 months, but I'm not totally sure because I don't run that part of the business.
Yeah. But if that was the metric, $38 a month times 9 is $342 is what you'd spend to acquire that customer, and then they stick obviously longer than that because your monthly churn is only 2 months. So the math obviously works there, but that's obviously super exciting, and all these strategies feed each other. Very cool. Let's wrap up here with the famous 5. We went way over, but it's rare you get a great story like this. So thanks for indulging me. Actually, Rebecca, I forgot. What year did you pass $1 million revenue? Do you remember?
Oh, 2020. Like I think January, like 6 months after we launched.
Okay. And do you remember what you finished the year after that at, 2021? You must remember like the 10 million number.
I think that was in the 10 range.
You went from 1 to 10 in your first 18 months.
Yes.
That's really that's crazy. Bootstrap. You went, wow, $1 to $10 million of ARR over the first 18 months. That's powerful. Is that right? You think? Am I saying that right?
I think so. Or do I have a second to?
Yeah, look. Yeah,
okay.
you have a dashboard. Take your time. I'll make small talk with the crew while they're parking in their garage, listening to the finale of the episode and all that jazz. But
okay.
I'll summarize some stuff just because I think, guys, some unique takeaways here that you learned from Rebecca so far. I mean, the fact that she already pre-sold so much of this by capturing demand through user interviews back in 2017 and 2018 is just huge advantage. Like if you know you want to get into software one day and you know what customer you want to serve, you're already halfway there. Just start interviewing them, learning, capture that stuff, and then eventually, if software is the way to solve their issue, you build a software product and you have a SaaS like Rebecca before you know it. So that's a good takeaway there. Rebecca, I'm also curious what dashboard you are loading right now. Do you use any tools to measure MRR growth?
Yeah, we use Recurly,
okay.
But it's asking you to enter a lot of.
We actually
we have I actually wish my VP of product were here because Lee Min, she's absolutely brilliant and she's the data geek around here. And we have a lot of different tools to measure. But the one that we started with at the very beginning was Recurly. And they are a payment processor for SaaS companies. And I really enjoy the analytics because they make it easy to look up metrics while you're on a podcast. So,
That's awesome. Well, it's nice. I mean, you have competitors in the space that publish a lot of their stuff privately. So it's kind of, I mean, publicly. So it's kind of cool. I imagine yours are all private and you can sort of go, hey, we're actually beating them. Even though the world doesn't know about it, we're beating them.
Yeah. And I mean, I think Martha and I have been on a lot of podcasts in the last few years. So everything is sort of out in public if you trace back our steps. But pinpointing, okay, this is a little bit mobile, not optimized.
She's zooming. She's zooming.
Yeah, years. All right. Past 18. So looking at it, it looks like, let's see, we hit, so 1 million MRR would be 12 million AR. And we hit that right around 2021.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Wow. And 2020 was, you finished at 83,000 of MRR, right? Or right around there, 1 million run rate.
In 2020, we had an amazing 2020. We had a lift from the pandemic. It was a really difficult year, but in terms of our growth, I'm not sure.
No, this is so great. No, it's great. Look, you get the idea. A lot of growth here, no outside capital. It's really impressive. So, Rebecca, thanks for taking time. Let's wrap up here with the famous five. Number one, your favorite business book.
Ooh, I have so many. Actually, I'll name one that I recently read. It's called Surrounded by Idiots. And I really enjoy it because it teaches you different communication styles and how to work within an organization, which is a skill that I've been working on a lot myself.
Number two, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
I've always been obsessed with Steve Jobs. I think he's absolutely brilliant. Like I read the book and I'm always looking up more anecdotes and quotes and videos about him. I know that he's passed away, but I just think his philosophies on design and the intersection of design and technology is wildly inspiring in any era.
Besides Recurly, what is one of your favorite online tools that maybe you pay a lot of money for inside of Flodesk?
Oh, I love Figma. I mean, I think we live in it. As a designer, it makes collaboration so easy, and it's sort of like it's so ubiquitous to our process. I don't even notice that we use it.
It's wild.
It's just always there.
It's wild how many you can build flows on that thing that it looks like a real product. You can give demos. It looks like a real thing, and no one knows there's no engineering to there yet. It's amazing.
It's incredible. Anyone who's starting a company in this day and age has no idea how hard it was even 8 years ago to get your ideas out into the world and test them.
Yeah, there's no reason you can't pre-sell today when you've got tools like Figma. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
All right. How many hours of sleep? Number 4. How many hours of sleep do you get every night?
I make sure to get at least 8.
That's great. And situation, married, single, kiddos, are you comfortable sharing?
Yeah, I'm married. No kids yet, but hopefully, eventually.
Hopefully one day. That'll be good. And Rebecca, are you comfortable sharing how old you are?
Yes, I turn 39 next week.
Let's go. Happy early birthday. Last question. Something you wish you knew back when you were 20 years old.
Oh, that's a good one. There's so many. I think getting into tech sooner, actually. I know that sounds a little bit crazy, but I've always been on computers, but just having the courage, I think, to jump into the tech space and start a tech company sooner would have been like if I could older me went back to 20-year-old me and said that, I think I would have appreciated that advice.
Guys, there have it from Rebecca. Flodesk makes email marketing easy as pie. From 2011 to 2014, she was selling MailChimp templates, doing $500,000 per year. Ultimately, Canva and other tools came in, and so templates stopped selling as well, but she still had a great built-in base that said, hey, we'd love to build this inside of MailChimp and make the flows easier. That prompted her to start going and interviewing folks from her audience, pairing up with a team at Honeybook and eventually launching. The three co-founders put in $90,000 total back on launch date before they launched their first paid plan at $19 per month. They eventually got going, and today over 30% of their inbound is powered by affiliate marketing and word of mouth marketing. They have over 80,000 paying customers. Revenue run rate today is about $27 million, up from $20 million just a year ago, and their $10 million a year was back in 2021, which they hit just, it's crazy, 18, 19 months after launch. All, here's a cherry on top, with no outside funding and just 50 full-time employees for $540,000 of revenue per employee. Check it out, flodesk.com. Rebecca, thank you for taking us to the top.
Thank you.